Right, hello everybody and welcome. The game has kicked off and it is live streaming here on Café Bettor Sport. It's not just kindergarten hour, but it is in the Andrews household. So, you joking, a penalty?
Already?
What's happened? A United penalty. Martial's been brought down.
Unbelievable.
Well, what a great way to start.
Oh,
well, it's very soft, but... No, absolutely. And it's definitely a penalty. There's no question. Gabriel Jesus coming in from the wrong side. What a rash challenge. As we all know, if you're an attacker, don't put in a challenge in the big box. Well, this is great for the game, isn't it, guys? Because it's definitely welcome.
But is it when like a penalty has been given so early in the game?
No, absolutely it is.
I don't know about that.
No, it is, because Manchester City, as even Keegan and Gabriel will attest to, were huge underdogs here. So it'll set the game up with Manchester City having to come out and play. But here is Fernandez. Let's deal with that before I officially welcome Keegan.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Yes. And it's only because of my FPL. He's my captain. Ha!
Okay, well, what a start for the game. Wow. I mean, Manchester United fans. And especially as I suddenly went up, I had a red shirt on, and I thought, I know what's going to happen is Keegan and Gabriel are going to be wearing Manchester United shirts. I better balance it out. Otherwise, City fans are going to say, oh, it's just a Manchester United live stream.
It will be very biased.
But what a great start to the game. Well, welcome to the guys. Let's start with Keegan. How are you feeling with your football team going 1-0 up after, I don't know.
Literally a minute.
Not even that. You know, what were the penalty incidents?
United have won on this ground over the last two seasons. Jesus still cursing his luck, or cursing perhaps the referee's interpretation of the moment, little matter which. Bruno Fernandes efficiently stuck it away. His 10th penalty of the season, his 23rd goal of the season. A derby goal which sets this up in a manner entirely unforeseen. First time Manchester City have been behind in the Premier League since they last lost in the Premier League to Tottenham Hotspur.
No, but I mean, you can't say that, Keegan. You can't say like you don't know what happened. It's literally 1 minute in. It's a fluke.
Well, I don't know. Correct. It could be. It could be 2-0 the way things are going. Interesting. Oh. So just to establish, because poor old Gabriel's about 2 minutes behind. So you know what we could. Keegan and I could, and Chloe, we could have lots of fun claiming that Manchester United keeps scoring, and actually there isn't a goal. I think get Gabriel very excited because he's watching on his DSTV now. But Manchester United off to an absolute flyer. I just want to bring in the betting element because obviously this is Café Bettor Sport and soccershop.bet will, I think, be delighted. The bookmakers will be delighted because a lot of people thought Manchester City would win this. But for the game, it's perfectly set up because City now have to come out and play. It's interesting because I was going to suggest that we started sort of 5 minutes before kickoff that maybe the value would be in the draw, playing the draw, which it might still be the value because City can come in and draw.
I feel like those are the odds that everyone are going to go for. That it would be a draw, that the two teams would actually cancel each other out. So I think,
Well, I'm not too sure. I don't know about that, Chloe. I think most people would have probably, even Gabriel and Keegan were hoping, but I think they probably expected City to win. But the value now, I'm going to go on to soccershop.bet and give you an idea because they do betting in running, which is fantastic. So we'll be able to find out exactly how they're betting at this juncture because I would imagine that United will be favourites now. I mean, because they're in front.
Sure.
But guys, what did you make? Yeah.
settle into the 185th Manchester derby. This one has shot out of the blocks.
No, 100%. It's certainly that. Now, you won't believe it. No problem, Gabriel. You won't believe it. But guess who the favourites are to win the game?
Manchester United.
No, Manchester City. Still
No, still.
favourites. So that I find very surprising. Manchester City are 12 to 10 favourites. Second favourites are Manchester United 2 to 1. And the draw is 5 to 2. So again, if you're wanting to play the draw, the value might be in the draw. But the favourite remains, despite the fact that they're losing 1-0, remains Manchester City at 12 to 10. I wanted to ask Gabriel quickly what he thought of the Manchester United lineup, because it seems to be set up for classical counter-attacking.
Knows that he is buffeted by a remarkable United record away from home. There are 21 matches in the Premier League unbeaten on their travels since losing at Anfield 413 days ago. This is obviously the shortest journey they have to make. And again, they lead opposition territory.
Absolutely. And just the Manchester City lineup, well, we've been talking about this on Café Bettor Sport and on the Premier Fantasy Show for some time, Keegan. You know, we had a show where Gabriel, Chloe and myself were discussing the fact that City have basically got 20 players that they can rotate at whim, and their results don't seem to matter. So whether he plays Foden, whether he plays De Bruyne, whether he plays, whether he plays Sterling, Mahrez, the results have been the same. But he's under pressure now, being behind at home.
Dean Henderson should enjoy this spell because there's a lot more to come. Gundogan. Sterling. De Bruyne. Wire out. Gundogan couldn't quite take it back, but Sterling has. Always stood his ground.
Yeah, well, this is a much better period of play for Manchester City, which you'd expect. Settle the nerves, Gundogan with some possession there. But Manchester United, excellent start. If you'd offered them 1-0 after 9 minutes, they would have taken it. That is for sure. Just in terms of Liverpool, I know we're live streaming a Manchester City and Manchester United game, but obviously this is the Premier League, and the champions have just disappeared. I mean, I've been in football, watching and broadcasting football for many moons. I've never seen a collapse from a championship team like I've seen with Liverpool, and I don't know what it is, but to lose at home for the 6th time and against Fulham today is just incredible. So Keegan, again, Gabriel and I chatted a bit about it on the Premier Fantasy Show. What's your take on Liverpool's absolute collapse?
And of course, this is a big anniversary weekend. A poignant one of the last weekend before lockdown. Certainly a memory that kept United fans content to a degree through those void weeks. Taylor, who is a Mancunian, in charge of his hometown derby for the 3rd time, actually 3rd successive year on this ground.
Yeah.
James. Fred. Straight from him as well. McTominay. Dyer. Shaw.
I was just going to say, Peter, that the lethargy that was attached to Manchester United on Wednesday at Crystal Palace looks as if it's been shed.
Response to that is strangely flat at Selhurst, wasn't it? Given the momentum they've generally built up over time. They have drawn their last 4 away games in the Premier League and 6 of the last 8. All of those 6 draws have been 0-0. He's going to fall behind eventually at some point. I guess if you've got to fall behind, allowing yourself more or less 90 minutes to make it up.
I'm getting a fallback. It's coming in my ear. Delayed. Yeah, well, it's tough times for Liverpool fans for sure, I'm sure. But great for Scott Parker. I mean, just if you're a neutral, I mean, just fabulous to see that they are just digging themselves out of the biggest hole. I mean, we saw Sheffield United, West Brom and Fulham all look dead certainties for relegation. But Fulham have given themselves a real sneak now and bought, of course, Brighton, Newcastle and to a lesser extent one or two other sides into it. Guys, I just want to explain to you what's happening here because I thought I'd make an evening of it. So I've got popcorn. So if you see me eating, it's the popcorn. I got popcorn and a non-alcoholic Savannah. And you guys will not believe what I've done. It's the first time in my life I've just done something. Guess what I did?
I don't know. You've cooked a snack of some sorts.
Maybe something with technology.
No, it's more strange than technology. I just put money on Manchester United. It's the first time ever.
Oh.
I took, so that, you know, I said they were 2-1. I'm just looking where the value in the game is. And of course, the longer it stays 1-0, the more it's not going to be 2-1. It's going to go 18-10, 16-10, 14-10, hopefully. So I took a decision that right now the value is actually in backing the side that's leading, particularly as they're not favourites. So that's what I've done. I had a little bit of ammunition in my soccershop.bet account. So I've put not all of it, but some of it on United. And then as long as it stays 1-0 and they shorten, the draw and the City winner obviously going to become better value as the game progresses in it. And at the right time, I'm hoping that I time it maybe to back Manchester City and cover my bet.
Well, you see, I think that your timing is perfect already because the way things look, Man United are taking this game. So,
spoken like a real non-neutral.
No bias at all.
No bias at all. Well, I'm looking at the shape of the game. I mean, it is now settling in after 15 minutes. They're just shy of 15 minutes. It's shaping into what we thought would happen, which is Manchester City with all of the possession. But I don't think, as you say, Gabriel, I don't think that Manchester United will be too concerned about that because they've set up to hit and hurt Manchester City if they can on the break. Just on that subject, Keegan, disappointing that Cavani is not in the lineup. I would have thought it would be nice to keep him, as a potential to come on and win the game for you, or in this case, shore up a second goal. So he's not even in the squad.
Yeah, I think I mean, there's a lot of absentees today. I mean, Cavani is definitely one, with De Gea as well. De Gea's out because he's just had a little baby that's just been born, so that's why De Gea's not in.
Yeah, I hope he doesn't drop that, because he's been dropping a few other things.
Well, I don't think they'll let us know if he does.
Here's a chance, by the way. Loose ball. Rashford's on the ball.
Oh, here we go.
Ooh. And anyway, don't worry, Gabriel. It's still 1-0.
So I would have liked to see Cavani, especially as a hold-up striker. So almost playing a 4-3-3 with Greenwood and Rashford on the left and right of him, with Bruno floating just behind. And I think that would have been a nice way to play against the City defence, because they do seem to often roll with a back three, with Cancelo and Rodri playing just in front of them. So I think they've gone, like Gabriel said earlier, just with a pace to try and get in behind, because Diaz and Stones aren't the fastest centre-backs out there, but they're not sluggish. So you do need someone with a bit of pace to get in behind. So I think with Bruno playing some of those wild passes that he does that often come off, I think the only way we'd be able to get at the City out of, if we got the ball, is to try and get in behind.
Yeah.
So that's my take on it.
So in the next 5 minutes, I'm going to ask you guys' opinion, because, as I say, with this soccershop.bet betting in live, we can talk about which player you think might score the next goal. But before we do that, what about the goals market here? I'm just going to go into soccershop.bet's live markets and have a look, because if I was to say to you over 2.5 or under 2.5, bearing in mind we've had one goal already, I mean, do you think that there'll be more than 2.5 goals in this game, or do you think that it could stay tight and there could be under 2.5 goals? Gabriel, you go first. What do you think?
That's tight. That's very difficult. Initially, so when we were talking on the Premier Fantasy show, my prediction was for a 3-1 victory to Man City. And from what I know about, or from how I know Man City play, they don't panic. Yes. So I actually think it will still be over 2.5. I don't think they're going to change their style of play. As much as I love Manchester United and I love that we've gone ahead early, it almost feels like score at your own peril. So I would still go with over 2.5, because I think that Man City are gonna, once they get going, it's gonna be hard to stop them.
Well, if you think that isn't going to be the case, then the value is definitely in under 2.5, because I've just gone on there. It's suspended now because City are on the attack, but that's blazed over the bar by Gundogan, so the betting will become up. Obviously, periodically the betting is suspended as one side is attacking. But here's how they're betting at the moment. Over 2.5 goals is very short. It's 0.28, which is basically 3 to 10. And under 2.5 is 5 to 2, which I think is actually not a bad bet, because the way I'm looking at it, I understand what Gabriel's saying, but I mean, City haven't created anything at the moment, have they, Keegan?
No, I mean, City, yes, they've had all the possession, but they haven't really been creating anything. The only thing that I think would put me off of betting under 2.5 is that United don't look like they're shutting up shop and just going for a 1-0. I mean, here, we're on their attack and we've got 8 players forward. So it's not like we're just playing possession at the moment. I think we want to win. So I definitely think it depends on when the next goal is scored. So I think if there's another goal in the next 10, 15 minutes, I think then it's going to be a very open game, especially if United score again. Because if City go 2-0 behind by half-time, I think Pep will lose even more hair in the change room.
Yeah.
So,
well, I mean,
I think if you're a betting man, I think under 2.5 is a great shout. I mean, with those odds. But at the moment, I don't see any of the teams shutting up shop or going for a draw here.
That is true. So while you were talking, I was looking at actually under 3.5, which gives you a cushion of the extra goal, and that's actually 8 to 10. The favourite there is over, which is at even money. But if you're going to go low on total goals in this market, I would, based on what both Gabriel and Keegan have said, I would go low at 3.5, because that way you can have City can win 2-1, Manchester United can win 2-1. It can be a 1-1 scoreline, or in actual fact, Manchester United could win 3-0, and you're still going to win. I don't think that's likely to happen. But so interesting. I might actually do that as I'm having a look now. I'm just waiting because it's suspended a bit because Manchester City are on the attack in the left-hand side. If you're going to be speculative and look for somebody to score the next goal, I know you boys probably want to look for a Manchester United player, but all things being equal, it might be a City equaliser. Any thoughts on who's looking good or who might be a goal scorer today in either of the sides?
Well, I'd put my money on Gabriel Jesus. I don't know, he just finds a way. He finds a way to get those goals happening, and he always seems to be in the right position. As a player, I don't think he's no Aguero, but he gets the job done. So
Rashford on the attack.
Beat him.
Yeah, is that Rashford? Got a bit greedy. He got a bit greedy there, didn't he? I mean, he could have found Martial perhaps. But Gabriel brings up Keegan brings up an excellent point. I mean, Manchester United are having a go, which begs the question to both of you: why don't they play like this every week? Because I've seen, and you've seen, here's a chance, by the way, it's come loose to Sterling on the right. Sterling breaks inside, poor quality,
Not
really.
Sterling.
That's not a penalty. Get up.
Oh, that could have been a penalty.
No, he didn't. No, he went down.
Didn't give it.
Like he went down like the Titanic there. I don't think that was very good.
Like Sterling does.
Yeah. No, I think he was looking there. But so what I was saying is, you know, one of the criticisms I would have, which is not just me, I mean, you've heard how Paul Scholes has been quite adamant saying that there's no bravery in the team. He said, this is Manchester United, and the players and the style of playing seems to be that they're happy with 0-0 results. But this is far more like it today.
And I think you see this a lot against the bigger teams. For some reason, I think Ollie just thinks that we don't mind losing to the smaller teams, or just getting the 1-0 or the 1-goal victory win. Where against City, it's almost like that rivalry where it's the Arsenals, the Chelseas, the Cities, the Liverpools, where he doesn't want to lose to. So he almost goes straight out of the blocks and just tries to get something. So, I mean, we've seen our last, I think it's 4 out of our last 5 games have been goalless draws. So I just don't know why we're playing the way we are playing. And I do think it has something to do with the fans. Because, I mean, if you hear any home game at United and it's more than 5 minutes and we're still passing the ball around, you will hear the Stretford end screaming, attack, attack, attack. Because they just don't want us to sit and play possession. They want to push forward. They want to go for the goals. So I don't know if it's just the guys just aren't going for the win and they're going for a single goal victory. But it's just so frustrating to watch as a fan.
Yes.
Still.
Well, I'm trying to get this
fan.
bet on. I'm trying to get this bet on, which of course is
City keep attacking.
Under 3.5, but City keep attacking, so the market doesn't keep opening up. It's very frustrating because I would imagine that it's going to go to 7 to 10 in a moment. Chloklo is arriving back. Chloe, we're having just an interesting discussion about Manchester United playing probably more attacking and showing more willingness to get forward than I've seen in many other matches, oddly enough, against sides not as good as City.
Sure. They've got 69% possession, City, and yet they're not able to score a goal. Have they had any shots on target?
Who?
They've had a few shots on target.
They've just had one now, which was a save. Yeah, you see, unfortunately, the under 3.5 is shortened. So hopefully, folks out there, when they heard me say 8 to 10, they got on. I didn't because I think I was busy live streaming and missed the jump here. It's now 6 to 10, under 3.5 goals. But I mean, it's not exactly like they're peppering the Manchester United goalkeeper, the Manchester City goalkeeper, the Manchester United goalkeeper.
So have your guys' thoughts changed around who's going to win this game, if this game is going to be won by United or City?
Well, you guess what happened? You know all the nappies, the money for nappies?
Yeah.
I put it on Manchester United.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. But the good news is that I put it on at a price which I think was not bad at the time. So I took 2 to 1. I don't know what they are now. They must be 16 to 10. But I'm waiting in order to put more money on to cover that
How about
bet.
you just don't put any money?
Well, it's too late now. You left me unattended here on the live stream. There's your man, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and there's Pep.
Not looking.
You know, it's actually very nice to see Ole Gunnar on the field and not just seated on the seats like he usually is. So
Watching his screen.
Do you think that
yeah,
makes a
now
difference,
he's
though?
getting involved and stuff,
Do you
which
think
is
it
great.
makes a difference to the team?
It makes a pretty big difference, I feel, because now when you're there telling your team like what you want them to do versus just watching them and watching on a screen and jotting down notes, it's not the same. It's not the same, so it's better like this.
I mean, how often do you see Pep sitting down? How often do you see Jurgen Klopp sitting down? I mean, yes, Bielsa's probably sitting on his haunches or on a lunchbox, but you know, he's out there. They on the sidelines. They want to be right in the action, so they're not just sitting waiting for things to happen. And I don't know if that's just Ollie. Oh, there's an attack. I don't know if that's just Ollie taking what Sir Alex Ferguson used to say, and basically after his team talk before the game, that was it. And he would speak to them again at half time, but you very rarely saw Ferguson up on his touchline. But I think it's just times have changed. So you often see Mourinho now sitting on the bench. You see Solskjaer sitting on the bench. You see the more older mentality managers sitting down. So I think you need to be more proactive now as a manager to keep your team motivated, and just you see from the side of the field what's happening better than anyone else.
True. But let's be honest, Pep is naturally just a nervous coach anyway.
I think he just expects a lot. I don't know if it's nerves. I think he's just
Have you
so
seen him
expectant on his
post-match? He's like
players.
scratching himself. He's got a nervous twitch. I mean, he's got a naturally nervous disposition.
I did say the other day.
He's,
I did say the other day on the Premier League show, and actually I was surprised that I didn't get a phone call from the producer afterwards, because it's that Premier League show, Premier League Today show that goes out on the EPL channel, and I said that Pep Guardiola has more. He's got more of the yips than Sergio Garcia. You know, Sergio has whenever he wants to cut, I mean, he's chipping. He's like 5 practice things, and Pep is a bit like that too. But I always think that when the results are coming, he does a lot less of that. At the beginning of the season, he looked under more stress, but of course, I think he was in contract negotiations as well, wasn't he? So there was a lot of uncertainty. But I think it's because, as you say, somebody said there, he demands so much. His expectations are so high that he's just so into it. I think he's a perfectionist.
yes, he really is, and I think he's a genius as well. So when things don't go his way, then he gets quite upset about it. And I remember I was listening to an interview that he did with Rio Ferdinand maybe 4 or so days ago, where he said that he was quite upset with City, and he was a little bit lost in a way with the way they were playing, how they started off slow in the league. And then he said that I think it was a game against West Brom. I can't remember if they won or draw or what it was that game. But he said that after that game, he decided that he needed to change something. And that's when the results started changing, and he started switching the way they play, looking at what's the best way to get the best out of each of his players in this team, etc. And he says now he's quite happy with the way they are. He's happy in England as well. And he just wants to keep improving, make sure that his team does what he needs them to do. And yeah, he's very good at adapting. That's something that I've noticed about Pep. And yeah, I personally, I really think he's a genius on the football field. Well, in the football industry, I should say.
Yeah, and I think he's also he's very human. He always stands for what he believes in, and firmly so. And I think that's got him a little bit in trouble, at home. But at the end of the day, he's principled. He's a principled person.
Well, I think he got into trouble with his viewpoint on Catalan, didn't he? Because he's very much politically active in terms of that the Catalans should get political independency. And at the time where it got a bit heated, he was always wearing those Catalonian colours, because he's Barca through and through, isn't he?
Yeah, but you see, I don't even know what the issue was. I just applaud him for his ability to stand for what he believes is right. And I think we need a lot more people who have platforms.
Yellow card for somebody.
No, please don't.
It's going to be Maguire.
No, Maguire, yeah. Maguire. Well, that's not good news, because, if Maguire gets turned later on in the game by Mahrez or somebody, I mean, let's be honest, he's not the quickest. So he's really got to be very careful now. It was hardly was that the yellow?
He got the ball. That's not a yellow card.
I don't think that's a yellow either.
I guess I'll find out in about a minute or so.
Yeah, in the head there.
I don't think. Maybe it's I think it's the screaming response. Actually, I think he said
dissent,
something.
yeah.
The dissent. Yeah. So, guys, it's an interesting thing, this betting market, because there's almost no change. So we're what are we, about 13 minutes to half time, and nothing's changed. So Manchester United are 18-10. Manchester City are still the favourites at 15-10, and the draw is actually shortened. The draw is shortened a little bit. It was 5-2. It's now 22-10. So it's a strange market. It's almost as though the market is waiting for Manchester City to score. But to me, I mean, they don't really look like it.
No. And, I mean, you were chatting earlier about who you think might even get the next goal. And I think it's going to be one of those goals where it's one of the defenders out of position or trying to get forward, and then he gets broken. So I wouldn't be surprised if Mahrez gets the next goal. If City score because Shaw's pushed up and you've got De Bruyne playing Mahrez in, and, I mean, then especially now with Maguire on a yellow card, with Mahrez having such quick feet, I think it's almost like suicidal for him to be going in, and well, he has Sterling doing Sterling things, so that was great.
Yeah. Well, the other thing I do want to say.
In terms,
carry on, Keegan.
I think I was just saying, I think it's almost going to need to be a wonder goal from City at this point, or one of our players being out of position, because I think defensively we're looking quite good at the back. So I don't see us breaking them with passing through us. I think it's going to take a mistake on our side for them to score.
I'd agree with that, and I'd also say something that I know Manchester City have put together this tremendous run of results, and I'm sure they're going to be champions even if they don't win today, or even if they lose to United today. I don't think anybody can catch them. But that, to me, the strength of that run has been driven by the defence, the tightening up with Diaz playing particularly well, and Stones coming back into the squad. No Walker. You know my opinion about Walker. I think he's a liability.
Wow, you're still on that.
No, but it's there for everybody to see. I mean, he has not been in the squad
true.
as they've put together this tremendous
It's
run of
true.
results.
Look, he's not the most polished player, let's be honest. He's really, really fast, and we love him for being fast and everything, but at the end of the day, he ends up being more of a liability to the team than anything else. He's careless, he's hot-headed, he's a hot mess.
Well, he's quick. I mean, I'll give him. But I mean, it's
But
no good being
yeah,
quick if you get
that's what
into the
I'm saying.
positions and then your final ball's
Correct.
rubbish.
Correct.
But anyway, that's not my point. My point is not about Walker. It's that I feel that the Manchester City run has been built on defence. What I'm saying is that they haven't exactly been prolific in front of goal. And that would please Manchester United fans, because it's not like they've been winning 5-1, 6-1, which they have done in the past, in previous seasons. So at the moment, you're right, Manchester United are pretty comfortable.
Yeah, and I think it's just the league at the moment in general. I mean, there's been very few goals throughout the season, as of recently, just throughout the whole league. I mean, you're seeing 1-0 wins or goalless draws, where, speaking in terms of FPL here, finding, you've got players that are playing 5 defenders now, where they would almost always play 3 at the back. So you're seeing a lot more teams keeping clean sheets or only conceding 1 goal. So I think the amounts of goals being scored just in general, I think is much lower throughout the whole league. I'm not sure what the exact numbers are or averages, but I definitely think it's lower than what it has been as of recent. I think there was a few outliers where in game week 26 there was only 28 goals throughout that whole 17 fixture swing, and that was with Spurs running riots, that was with City winning as well, that was with Arsenal scoring plenty goals. So I think there's been a lot of games where there's been very little goals. So I think most defenses recently are looking really good.
Gabriel, I don't want to get
Even
your
Fulham.
hopes up. Yeah, even Fulham. I don't want to get your hopes up, but I think yesterday, did I not see 3 1-0 victories for away sides? And earlier today, Fulham beat Liverpool 1-0. Here's a chance. Poor finish from Gundogan. There were a lot of 0-1 results yesterday, weren't there, in the Premier League?
Yeah. No, it's something positive to see that it's possible. And I really do think that, like Keegan mentioned earlier, not having fans there is a big thing. These 1-0 results away, etc., not being able to hear the fans, which isn't great at times, but the fans berating the away side, it really does get into the players' head, and the plans motivating the home sides. It's a very different thing right now with the fans there at the Etihad. The game probably would have been at a draw, but Man United right now can hold them, and let's just see how it goes. Like you guys were saying, they don't particularly look like they're going to get through, but that's what halftime is for, and we're just going to have to wait and see. They're still getting a few chances in that I'm seeing. Like now, I just saw that Gundogan chance you spoke of earlier.
Yeah.
But let's just hope that Man United can hold them and get a good result, because this will be a very big result, like in the context of survival, or not survival, of top 4, and just for confidence in general.
Well, you're right, particularly with top 4, because Chelsea are going well, but Liverpool, I mean, I don't know how they're going to finish top 4. They just can't score. They can't score any goals. But
I don't think they're going to finish in the top 4. I think that they're probably going to try their best to win the Champions League to get through like that, which is possible. But getting into the top 4, I mean, I was speaking to Keegan, and if Leeds wins the 2 games that they have in hand to Liverpool, they'll be 2 points behind Liverpool. If Spurs and all the teams that are just under Liverpool by a point or 2, if they win their game in hand, then Liverpool's going to drop to 9th or 10th place. So them finishing top 4 is highly unlikely at this stage.
Okay, just an update on the market. It's starting to move a little now, because I think that the market, the bookmakers, the algorithms are working out that actually City don't look like they're going to score. So Manchester City, remember when that just after they scored, I said it's a surprise. They are favourites at 12-10. Well, they've now eased out to 16-10. and we've got joint favourites now, with Manchester City and Manchester United joint favourites at 16-10. The draw remains the outsider of the three options at 22-10.
Sure.
So the market is definitely moving. In fact, now we've got a new favourite. So for the first time, Manchester United are favourites to win. Yeah, they are 16-10. Manchester City 17-10, and the draw 22-10.
So for those of us who are actually not punters,
Yes.
explain what all of this means.
Okay. Well, the key word in punting, right? There's one key word. It's not a four-letter word. You shout the four-letter word when you lose. The punting key is a five-letter word, and it's called value.
Right.
Value. If you are always on the side of value, the chances are, in the long run, you're going to maybe not win, but you won't lose a lot, because what you're doing is picking the value.
Right.
There's nothing worse in betting than taking a price that is an incorrect price. So I'm always looking for value. This goes with horse racing as well. So if there's a horse that 9 times out of 10 is going to win, right, then you take a price that reflects that. Don't take a price that says it's a racing certainty, because that would be 10 out of 10. So it's a question of value. So for me, when Manchester United were 1-0 up, although I actually think Manchester City will either draw or perhaps win, Manchester United weren't even favourites, and they were leading the game.
Yeah.
So as I explained, for me, the longer it stayed 1-0 to Manchester United, and now it might not, because Kevin De Bruyne is standing up. But the longer it stayed 1-0 to Manchester United, all the other markets would change, which is what's happened. Unfortunately, it's now suspended because everybody's waiting to see if this could be a goal. If it is, my bet on Manchester United is not very good anymore, and the value's gone. So while I was actually talking to you, I should have actually been on maybe covering my bet. Let's hope it's not a goal. But I prefer this goalkeeper, guys. I prefer him to De Gea.
Really?
Yeah.
He's solid. He's quite solid. It's I think the experience of him playing with Sheffield United in the Premier League really made him more ready for a role like this. So Dean Henderson is quite good.
No goal, Gabriel. No goal.
Good. Okay, good. All I'm saying
No, but
is
he's
De Bruyne
5 minutes
is
behind.
No, man, give him a chance to catch up. Don't be that person.
Yeah, but it's good news. If it was bad news, I would have...
But De Bruyne looks like he's pooped his pants.
Manchester United are shortening all the time, guys. You see, this is about the value.
Do you see his shorts?
Whose?
De Bruyne.
Keeper? Oh.
He looks like he's pooped his pants.
Who has?
De Bruyne.
Yeah, because he probably had money on
Stones
Manchester
same-
City at
same
12
thing
to
on
10.
on his shorts as well.
So to explain, the last thing I want to say is, Flo, value, you only really get a perception of value as the game develops.
Right.
So the point is, I got my money on it 2-1, right? Because I thought that was value. And as we stand now, they're at 15-10. So they've shortened. So
Yes.
I got my money on a much better price. Therefore, I got value.
And you're hoping that it stays like this so that
Well,
cash in.
yes, but at some point in
and
time,
that you go to bed a very happy man.
no, at some point in time, I will cover my money, because that's the logical thing to do. But you're waiting for Manchester City to become value. You know what I mean? So at 12-10, they weren't value. But 10 minutes into the second half, if they're still trailing, I mean, I'd love United to score again. Martial giving it, good feet. Oh, Martial. Guys, I'm not a Martial fan, eh?
No, he's not great.
No.
I was a Martial fan, and he
average.
has just been absolutely. You know what? He's technically gifted. He's got good feet, and he's got good ability, but how he applies it is very disappointing.
You know what I find with him, Keegan, which concerns me a lot, because I think it's important in a footballer. If I was a coach, to me, body language is so important. And I find his body language is less than appealing. You know, it doesn't mean to say he's not mentally putting it in. Oh, what a chance! Gabriel, look away. That was a chance.
Oh, that was close. That was close.
And it
But
came
there
from,
again, Mahrez getting into position and creating the opportunity because Shaw's out of position. So there, Mahrez is completely open.
yeah, well, Corky. He was actually offside
No.
anyway. Jesus would have been offside. So I just pulled this out. Not that sounds like I'm striker bashing here, but I'm going to level it up because I'm not a great Martial fan. But equally, for me, Gabriel Jesus doesn't score enough. I don't see him winning you titles, and it's interesting that Guardiola has often played with a false number 9. And he hasn't used, obviously Aguero's been injured, but he hasn't always used Gabriel Jesus and hasn't needed to.
Yeah, and I think it's like you were saying with the body language. It's just when you see players playing like that and they've just got no confidence, they're walking back.
Half-time,
1-0.
You couldn't wait for Keegan to finish.
we've got our money on United.
That's all. I was actually quite interested in what he was saying.
Well, he's going to carry on now. He's got 15 minutes at half-time.
Oh, okay, let me go be a mommy and play.
No, but you wait and hear what Keegan has to say.
Okay,
Carry on,
let me-
Keegan,
let
about
me
body
hear
language, because I think it's important.
No, 100%. And that's what I think when you see players like Greenwood, when he came on the scene last season, players like Cavani, where they actually want to play, they want to be there, they get it. Like, that's why I love watching Bruno. Yes, he sprays passes all over the place and often misplaces passes. But when he gets something wrong, he's so angry within himself that he doesn't need, he like wants to do better for not only himself, but for the team.
Yeah.
So when you see players like Harry Kane, like Patrick Bamford, Antonio, Sergio Aguero, I mean, there's just players that want to be scoring goals. Where you watch Martial, it's like it doesn't even look like he wants to be on the pitch.
Yeah, it's
So,
the passion. It's the
that's
passion
what I
and the
thought.
investment
Yeah.
in the
They're
team.
hungry for the game.
Yeah.
I'm
And that's why I
glad.
thought, like, with Aguero injured for so long. No, carry on, Neil.
What I want to say, I'm glad you didn't mention my pet hate in terms of body language. I think he's gone now. Sebastian Haller, he must have been. I mean, why he's playing football, I don't know. What a misery. I mean, he couldn't smile.
Yeah.
He couldn't crack a smile even if he scored, which he didn't score too many. And to me, you've got to be on the front foot. You've got to show positive body language. So, yeah, to me, Martial's frustrating. Sebastian Haller's frustrating. A couple of them are very frustrating.
I mean, look at Erling Haaland at Borussia Dortmund. I mean, his passion it runs through the entire team. I mean, I think now he's just hit 100 goals, the fastest ever. He's beaten Messi, he's beaten Ronaldo, he's beaten Lewandowski, he's beaten everybody. And it just shows that he wants to be there. He wants to score. He doesn't just want to score one goal. He wants to put 7 past every goalkeeper if he could.
Yeah.
So, and that's what I love watching, even in Pep's teams, like Gabriel was saying earlier, like he strives for that perfection. They could be 5-0 up, and they'll have a player that will miss a chance, and he'll lose he'll completely lose it on the side of the field because he just always wants more. Where with United, you're just not seeing that.
Absolutely.
And the rubbish thing as well about having somebody who's not hungry is that it's infectious. It infects the players, and I've seen it very, very often as well when I'm coaching the little ones. So it really doesn't have an age. If there's one boy in the squad who's got a terrible body language, he affects everybody else around him. So everybody starts training the same way that he does.
Yeah.
Especially if you're a leader, then you're just gonna want to. If my leader is doing this, then I can do that as well. And it's horrible to see at times.
Excellent
So body
point.
language is a massive thing. Yeah.
No, excellent point.
I mean,
Okay,
look at
guys.
the body language at Leeds.
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
sorry.
No, exactly. Leeds. I mean, they would run themselves into a coma for Bielsa, and it's evident. And unfortunately for them, I think they have run themselves into a coma because I think all of those efforts. I don't know how sustainable they are for a full season, particularly a season like this, which is so compact. So it remains to be seen. I think they might have shot their bolt a little bit. But anyway, guys, I'm going to give you 10 minutes for a comfort break, and then we'll be back. But so far we've got the value because Manchester United, if you did take the 2-1, they are now. Let me just give you an update on the halftime betting. They're now 14-10, actually just a bit less, 13.8. So they're betting Manchester United favourites 14-10. We got our money on it 2-1. Manchester City are now 2-1, and the draw is 22-10. But of course, there's still lots of football to be played. So my thanks to Gabriel, my thanks to Keegan. We'll be back just before kickoff of the second half. Chat to you guys now. Right, welcome back on. The boys have got a few technical issues, I think, with their cameras. So they're busy doing that. But the kickoff of the second half has begun. And I was thinking at half-time, as we see Gabriel's arrived, I was thinking at half-time, you know, Gabriel, there's a lot on the line here. I don't think it's going to, personally, I don't think it's going to affect the outcome of the Premier League, but it will stop a lot of these records that Manchester City have set up, and they won't want to throw away those records. So it's an important 45 minutes for them.
Yeah, for sure. They've got their record is quite outstanding. I think, if I'm not mistaken, their winning run is the third best in modern football history, which is quite incredible. Then I do believe, but I also, if I'm not mistaken, I reckon that Manchester United have a record that they might want to keep. They haven't lost in 21 games. Yeah, records are also important, and I think we'll see a different City side in terms of attacking coming out.
Okay, that's better. We just muted Keegan there because I don't know whether he's also got all his money on his bookmaker with Manchester United. Maybe he's negotiating there, but I think he's got a problem with his visuals as well. But it's going to be important the first 5-10 minutes. I mean, if you are Manchester United here against a City side that you know are going to come at you, and they're doing just that. Oh, what a chance! Don't worry, Gabriel. Don't panic. But you've just Manchester City just hit the frame of your goal. Rodrigo, I think. Let's have a good. Actually, to be fair to Zizou, I was less than complimentary about him earlier on, but that was a great layoff. Right, I think we're going to put Keegan back on. We can hear him.
Is my video working?
Yeah, you're back on.
No. Am I frozen?
You look frozen.
Yeah, you are frozen. Quite right.
Brilliant.
Well, I don't mind if the scoreline freezes. To be honest, it's my first ever. It's my first ever bet on Manchester United. So if this score were to freeze, I would be very happy. The question is, how long is it going to stay like this?
United as well.
I think that came out there. Okay, there we are. Right, free kick to Manchester City, and Kevin De Bruyne is over it. So let's see what transpires here. So for those that maybe took our Café Bettor Sport advice earlier on and took the 2-1 about Manchester City, didn't really worry Henderson there. Very safe set of hands. It's just a question of whether you stay with Manchester United or you look to cover your bet. I am of the opinion that I would like to cover at some point in time, but of course you got to pick. Go Luke Shaw. Go Luke Shaw. Luke Shaw to Rashford. And Luke Shaw.
Shaw just scored!
You beauty! I can't believe that I'm celebrating a Manchester United goal. That is unheard of.
It's on my bench.
This is unreal. He's on my bench as well. What is this?
No. I mean, you can't please you Manchester United fans. You've gone 2-0 up against City and you're moaning that Luke Shaw's on your FPL bench. Who cares? You're 2-0 up.
Oh, this is brilliant.
And guys, guess what? What a great success for the first ever Café Bettor Sport live stream, because we backed Manchester United at 2-1 and they are now 4-10. So they're actually even shorter. They're 0.36. So where's Chloe? This is a prime example of what value is. Because now, of course, now Manchester City are 7.5 to 1 to win the game, and the draw is 7-2. So, if we can keep a clean sheet for Manchester United, can keep a clean sheet. Listen to me saying we. If we Manchester United can keep a clean sheet for another 5 minutes, that betting is going to continue to drift. So it's important that I think it's important, guys, that United just keep a clean sheet for 5 minutes, eh?
Yeah. I think for that specific reason, I think yes. But now City look like they've got a cracker, and it seems like now they're really pushing. So I think now you'll see City really try and open us up, and that might leave them vulnerable at the back. So I think this could be a very, very open game now.
Guys, real quick for the FPL players, I thought that Man United up against an almost unbeatable Man City, we've not been great, etc. So I have both Rashford and Luke Shaw on my bench. Luke Shaw with a goal and currently a clean sheet. Rashford with an assist, and it doesn't look like any of the players that I have are going to come off. So there's a lesson in not trusting your team players or the team you support's players. Which sucks.
but I can understand why you did it, because let's be honest, I don't think too many people would have thought that Manchester United would be leading 2-0 after 52 minutes at the Etihad. So you're not alone in that. And of course, a lot of us, myself included, we've got Manchester City defenders. So I've got Diaz and Stones and Cancelo. I've got all three of them. So
they're currently on 0 points.
Correct.
Oh, goodness gracious.
So it happens, but it's been that kind of Premier League season. I mean, I don't know about you, but just spending a bit of time on Fantasy Premier League, and in particular City, it's a frustrating team to pick, because at times I've had Foden and he just doesn't play him. Same with Mahrez, and Sterling's rested. I mean, you're not 100% sure your player's even going to get game time.
That's right, yeah. And especially with the way he likes to rotate, you'd think, oh no, Phil Foden is sure to start. He had a fantastic game the previous game, and then what do you know? He doesn't even feature the next match. So yeah, it's very tricky. The Pep Roulette is what it's known as in the FPL community, and beating it is next to impossible at times.
Yeah, I think you almost have to concede that if you have City players, they're going to be benched at some points. I mean, obviously, if you've got Diaz or Edison, they're the only ones currently that haven't been rotated. But everyone else has been rotated. So I think it's almost like you just accept when they don't play and hope that when they do play, they score massive points.
Yeah, not surprisingly, by the way, guys. Here we go, chance for City here, held up, but I think the momentum's out of the attack. Is it? Yeah, I lost a bit of momentum.
Yeah.
Get rid of it. Manchester United are now shortening all the time. They are now 3-10, and as I say, as long as they don't concede, they're going to continue to shorten, because time is now Manchester City's enemy. Although there's plenty of time, we've seen them turn it around, and they probably won't panic. If they get a goal, then they're back in the game. But they do need to score next, don't they, Manchester City?
They really do. And in recent memory, I don't remember when Manchester City were trailing by 2 goals. I don't remember the last time it happened. At home on top of that. And they've had a phenomenal record. But I was saying to Neil as well a bit earlier, Manchester United also have quite an amazing away record at the moment. I think it's 21 games unbeaten away, which is also quite an astounding record that they'd also want to keep.
I mean, could you?
Yeah, and I think we were chatting.
Carry on, Keegan.
Sorry, Neil.
No, you carry on.
I think just Gabriel and I were chatting earlier, just with regards to our record recently against City, and we haven't lost to them in the league since 2019. And then before that, that's why Dan James doesn't start every week.
That was frustrating.
But I think it's so strange to see how the league is going, because the teams that you think will be dominant, like Leeds will go and win 4-0, and then next week the week after they'll lose 1-0, and Liverpool will now like a 6-game losing run at home. City are 2-0 down in the derby with, it doesn't look like they'll be scoring. So I think there's such a shift change in just, you can't really, it's great for betting because it just keeps things so interesting.
Absolutely.
This is a good example of us seeing that a team like Man United are actually good enough to challenge for the title and whatnot if they could just be consistent. Because it doesn't really look like they've seemed out of place in this game. Yes, City have had more chances and they've had more possession, but they look like a team that can compete with anyone, so if they could just get that consistency, it would make a world of difference.
Yeah, and I agree with you. I keep staring at this bet because I can't believe actually that I got 2-1 Manchester United when they were actually already 1-0 up. I mean, it just shows you what the market thought, and how strong a favourite Manchester City was. I mean, can you believe we got 2-1 Manchester United when they were leading 1-0 already, and they're now 3-10. But you've got to be a bit careful because if City do score next, it can be a game changer, and United might start to panic a little bit. So it's important that they just keep their concentration.
Yeah.
And it's great to see because we're not sitting back either. I mean, we're trying to keep pushing forward. We going for a bigger win here. We're not just taking a 2-goal victory or a 2-goal lead and staying with it. I mean, here we've got 5 people on the break. And there's Martial.
What I've noticed as well in the game is that he's not sitting with Fred and McTominay right in front of the defenders and leaving that big hole in the middle. It's like every position is covered, which is what we want to see tactically as well, so that we can get the ball to Bruno, get the ball to James and Rashford on the wings, whatnot, without having to boot it and then just expecting the speed to be able to cover everything. So it's a more positive like tactic that seems to be played.
I've got some good news for you, Gabriel. It'll make you feel better. Is Luke Shaw just got a yellow card, so don't worry. It's not that bad. So he's on your bench, but it's fine. I mean, Martial, what was that? That was a backheader. It wasn't an attempted goal.
I mean, come on, really? That's just...
it just happened.
But guys, let's see.
Drive.
Let's see, because I think there will be another goal in this game. It seems now end-to-end stuff. So let's see if we can figure out. I'll go to the market and see what they say as far as the next goal scorer, because it could be a City player, but equally it could be a United player, as you say, because it's end-to-end stuff. So let's have a look at the market on soccershop.bet and see what they say, because it'll be the market for the next goal scorer. So I've got to go into, there's a lot of live football games on Real Sociedad and Levante, but I'm going to, by the way, Manchester United are now 1-5. They're 0.2. They're 1-5 to win this match. So we're pretty happy with the 2-1 we got. Let's have a look at this. I'm just going in to look at these markets. There will be a market for next goal scorer. I've got the anytime goal scorer here, but let's go to be under N, next goal scorer. Okay, so the favourite to be the next goal scorer, interesting that everybody's suggesting the next goal will come from City, because the favourite is Gabriel Jesus at 6-1. Gundogan is the second favourite at 7-1. Sterling is the third favourite at 7.5-1. De Bruyne is the fourth favourite at 8-1. Mahrez is the fifth favourite at 9-1. So the first 5 favourites are all City players. The shortest Manchester United player to score is Bruno Fernandes, who's 10-1. Martial is 14-1, and Rashford is 14-1. So, what do you think?
It's quite interesting that Mahrez is only 5th to me, because it looks he's quite a likely goal scorer as well, particularly in matches where Man City are struggling to break down a squad. Then it's usually Mahrez's trickery that incites a moment of it's his trickery that incites a moment of magic, and then Manchester City can get going from there. So to have Gabriel Jesus first,
Really on the attack.
but yeah, I suppose so. He is their striker, so it does make sense.
Yeah. This betting was suspended for a moment when Rashford had the ball, but he subsequently lost it. Now it's back in play the other side. I mean, it does look like there's going to be a goal here because it's end-to-end stuff. I'll be surprised if it ends 2-0 because City are going to have to keep pushing forward, which will leave spaces for United to fill. I'm going to have another look at this goal-scoring market because... yeah. What about, could there be a penalty, guys? Because, you talk about Mahrez's trickery, and we've had one penalty in the game already. Kevin De Bruyne is taking the penalties still for City, eh?
We would think so, yeah. I don't think City have had a penalty since De Bruyne's been back. Because Sterling, Gundogan and Rodri have all taken quite shocking penalties when De Bruyne when KDB was
that
out.
One from Rodri, I'm so surprised that Lloris wasn't able to save it because that was a horrible penalty.
Exactly. So, I'm pretty sure that De Bruyne would be on penalties. And like you said, Neil, with Mahrez and his trickery and Sterling on the other side with his feather legs, I think it could be any bet that there could be a penalty on that side as well.
Well, this is an interesting market now for those. I don't know if anybody watching Café Bettor Sport duplicated what we did. If they did, they'll be very happy because, as you know, we've got our money on Manchester United to win the game at 2-1. Oh, look who's coming on, Kyle Walker. So that could be a Manchester United penalty, knowing Walker. But what I was saying is that if you've backed, as we have, Manchester United to win, you loathe to be backing somebody to be Manchester City player. De Bruyne is breaking forward here. You loathe to back Manchester City to score because then it's just going to make you nervous about the last 25 minutes of the game. So I might be looking for Manchester United player to score again. And especially now that Walker's come on, I think I might back... but the question is which one? David James isn't the best finisher. If you had to pick a Manchester United scorer, can you imagine what price Luke Shaw must have been to be the next goal scorer?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that would have been very, very good odds. Very good odds. Well, very good win for you if you put that.
What about Maguire from a set piece?
Our set pieces are so inconsistent. It could happen, but I think if you're looking at a centre-back to score, I think it could be a Stones or Diaz goal from a corner on the other side. But I think, everyone is saying how Maguire's a threat in the box from set pieces, but I think he scored 2 goals.
Yeah, for someone with so many chances and who's so good in the air, it's actually quite disappointing how little he scores with it. It's with headers. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Who's that, Gabriel?
This is Maguire. He should score so many more chances. Yeah, but somebody who I've been seeing getting into decent positions in this game particularly is Dan James, and I wouldn't bet against him not being able to score. He scores in. Okay. He's been scoring again recently, and most of the goals that he scores are because he gets into decent positions. So that would be somebody that I would keep an eye on as well.
Okay, well, yeah. I'm gonna dabble on him a little bit because the beauty of that is they're such big prices that you can back a few here. Next goal scorer. Let's see what price he is because we said it already. No, you got no chance. So where Daniel James is 18-1. 18-1 Daniel James. I might have a little bit of a tickle on him. I'm going to just have a bet on him. Daniel James. Because I'm looking for United to score a third. I think the more City push forward, and as I say, I don't want to back City to score a goal because then I'll be a bit nervous about my Manchester United to win bet. So I prefer United to be spending money on United players. I might just wait a couple of minutes until he goes 20-1, because that's what's going to happen as time runs out. Here's Luke Shaw, who's having a blinder. Go on, Luke. What about him? Imagine he can score again. What price is he to score again? 100-1. He's 100-1.
Goodness gracious.
I'm gonna.
And McTominay?
McTominay is 28-1.
I think that might be because I mean he loves a goal against City. So it's happened before,
Particularly in the last minute as well.
yeah.
Yeah. Kyle Walker, by the way, is 66-1 to score, but he's a certainty to give the ball away, they say. I'm speaking when Kyle left Spurs, and I think he went for 55 million. I had a Kyle Walker farewell party.
I think it'll be the same for a lot of United fans if Martial ends up leaving, or Pogba as well. To be fairly honest.
Sorry to interrupt, but look who's coming on, Keegan. What
Phil
about
Foden.
Phil Foden? Now, what about him to score? What price will he be?
Probably in the 20s, I would guess.
Somewhere there. Probably around 16-1.
Daniel James is still 18-1. I'm waiting for. Don't you think Rashford?
Why didn't he shoot?
Rashford's been poor the last 10 minutes. He keeps giving the ball away, and the last 10 minutes since the goal.
Rashford could have scored there.
Yeah, he should have had a go. But there's more space for United now. Definitely, Fernandes on the ball, passing. They got it just on the edge of the box here. Oh, you should have given it to Luke Shaw. 100-1. Here's McTominay.
Come on, McTominay.
Oh. How did he miss that?
Martial open 1-on-1.
Well, that was the game.
Straight bloody Edison. Oh.
That is such a bad miss.
Frustrating.
That is a horrendous miss.
I don't understand how some of these misses happen versus the goals that they scored. It's unreal. Rashford is the master of that as well. He'll have so many good opportunities and he'll score the difficult ones, and the ones that you think he'd put away, it just doesn't happen.
Well, that was that was a bad miss. I mean, I think he had a little bit more time.
Oh, for sure. I mean, and then that's what I don't like about Martial as well. He's so predictable on where he's going to shoot because he turns his entire body to that side of the goal. So it's the same with Sterling when he's 1-on-1. I mean, it's so rare where Sterling scores a 1-on-1 because he's so predictable with his body. So, I mean, very frustrating. Martial's probably got low odds to score.
I don't get how he do that.
Just a compliment, because I said Rashford going forward hasn't been great, but he just made a tremendous run tracking back defensively. For a brief moment there, it was 4 City attackers on 3 defenders. He might have got himself injured, but he ran all the way back and made a vital intervention. He might have hurt himself in the process, but City were on their bicycle there. Bottom line, guys, as we wait, so there's going to be a slight delay here because Rashford is injured. He's down. I don't think it's I think it's just a little bit.
I think it's his foot.
Yeah. But with 70 minutes gone, there's 20 minutes to play. I'll give you an update on the match result. Wow. So Manchester United, 0.08. So 0.10 is 1 to 10. They're now 1 to 12 or something, I think. 1 to 12. If you think Manchester City can win here, they're 28-1, and a draw is 8-1. I must be honest that
Wow.
I don't expect it to be a draw, but Gabriel Jesus is coming off and Foden is coming on, and I think personally that they'll be more effective with Foden. So I'm actually going to back Foden. I don't know what I'm going to do. I might actually back the exact score to be 2-1 to Manchester United. Not too sure.
And Neil, before I forget, Lolo said that she's on the live stream and you must stop spending all of your money, all of yours and her money.
Well, we're winning, Chloe. If you're watching, we're winning at the moment. And if you are watching, this is a lesson in value because we took 2-1 and they're now 1-12. I mean, can you believe that? We backed them at 2-1 and they're now 1-12. And that's what finding the value is. But the value now, if you're looking for a stupid bet, is Manchester City the draw, because that's 8-1. It's actually just gone 9-1, and we all know if they do score in the next 5-10 minutes, it might be a nervy last 10 minutes. Unfortunately, Rashford is gone off with one boot in his hand. Have United brought on a substitute yet?
No, Henderson kicked the ball out so that they could, and City just played on.
Ah, interesting. They won't be very popular if they score from this.
No. Wow. Yeah. Great. Nothing like some sportsman behaviour.
Yeah, they're just saying on commentary that Solskjaer arguing. Yeah.
Actual foot.
Here we go. Solskjaer and Guardiola arguing.
What is?
Yeah, interesting. You hear that debate?
Wow.
Yeah.
Some drama happening.
Yeah, lots of drama happening. So obviously, Solskjaer is saying it was not sportsmanlike, but Guardiola is saying, well, you kicked it out and we were ready to accommodate your substitution, but you weren't ready. So we carried on the game. So interesting. Well, I suppose it depends whose camp you're in. Here's James. Come on, James. Quick, nimble, attack. Quick feet. Oh, nah. I don't think that was ever on that Fernandez ball. But anyway, listen. Maybe you know what? Maybe Chlochlo is right if she's watching. Maybe we shouldn't get greedy here. We backed Manchester United at 2-1, and if the game runs out and they win, then we've done nicely and we found the value for you. There's no sense in chasing a third goal if there's not going to be a third goal. And City haven't. I mean, City. Let's be honest, guys. I know you two are both Manchester United fans, but Gabriel, City have been disappointing. I mean, they've hardly worked your keeper.
Yeah, they look. This is definitely not what I expected come the start of the game. I think that they've really struggled to break down Man United's defense, and it's almost
just the sitter.
So, like Martial says, I
would have been very annoyed if he'd scored.
It really seems like Ole went in with having seen what Man City do, and found a plan to really stop them from doing what they do. So they have to try something else, and whatever it is they're trying, it's just not working.
Well, I was right about one thing. Foden has automatically shown that he's had more influence in the 2 minutes he's been on the pitch than the man he replaced has had for the previous 70-odd minutes. And that might still come into play. I mean, there's 15 minutes left. And I do think the City, are probably going to manufacture another half chance or two in the last 15 minutes.
Yeah, I think they're definitely on the front foot now with Foden on the pitch, and they're playing. I mean, I don't think they've got anyone in their half at the moment, so it seems like everyone is pushing forward, and they are really pushing for a goal. So they're trying to almost just overwhelm United's defence at the moment. So I wouldn't be surprised if they do create a few more chances. But their finishing today has been poor, so that's what's let them down. They've created a few odd chances. But yeah, he has. Shaw didn't play the ball to James. But is that another chance? Dan James? No, it's Walker, maybe.
Yeah. 2.5.
But I don't see. I think I see it ending like this. I see it ending as a 2-0 United win.
Here's a quick question. You guys will know how many points, if it stays like this and you take the 3 points, how many points behind Manchester City are you?
I think it's 12 points, 11 or 12 points. So I don't theoretically see us catching them. There's still 11 games to go after this, but I think it's 11 or 12 points behind them. So, I mean, I don't see them doing the remainder they've got and us winning throughout the rest of the season. So I still think the season is theirs. I think currently we're fighting for second place. And I think, Gabriel and I were chatting earlier, and I think there's eight or nine teams that could make it into the top four. So it's a fairly open still for top four. So I just hope we can stay consistent and stay second.
I think it is 11 points if the score's to stay like this, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so, here's City on it. No, Walker.
Yeah. Well, apparently, by the way, on social media, when Fernandes was taking his penalty, apparently Walker screamed to try and put him off. He wasn't even on the pitch of play, but apparently, as he was about to take the penalty, Walker screamed or shouted or something from the side. That does sum him up.
Yeah, that says a lot.
Anyway, I think City very disappointing. Not at the races, really. And I have to say that there was you could argue the first minute the penalty, which was a penalty, went against them, but there was no real response. As I say, Henderson, I can't think of a real save he's had to make.
Perhaps just that chance earlier in the first half with Zinchenko, but other than that, I've also not really seen anything.
You're right. He did. That was one save but it was a relatively routine save, wasn't it? You'd expect him to make that. Great ball. Oh, what a chance!
Oh, and they've just missed the game.
Wow.
And Sterling almost needs chances like that in order to score, because he just needs those tap-ins, because it just seems like he just can't get anything else. But it's gone through his legs.
And to be fair to Walker, that was a great delivery. That was a great delivery.
Great ball.
But I think Lindelof got a touch, didn't he? It just put Sterling off.
Yeah, it seemed like there was something that happened. But Sterling, I don't know if his feet are just too quick for his own good, but it just seems like often he gets in that position where his feet he doesn't know what to do. So it literally just went through his legs. But if that was Aguero, that's a goal.
Yeah.
So
not a good touch from Foden. So, question, guys: is this going to peter out into a 2-0 victory for Manchester United? The closer they get inside the last 10 minutes, there's no need really for United to push forward for a third. They're just showing Aguero, who, he certainly would be missed in a game like this. But do you think it's going to finish 2-0?